So today I'm going to be going, first and foremost, I'm going to be using all these books to really break down the point of this video. Okay? As far as the jealous God, Yaltabaoth, in the Bible. Well, I won't say the Bible, but the Nag Hammadi Library. But in the Bible, he's known as Yahweh. Okay? So the first book I'm going to be touching on is this one. Now, first, let me say this. I'm pretty sure this video is going to upset a lot of people. And that's because they don't know. You know, they don't know no better. They don't know the hidden history of Yaltabaoth, a.k.a. Yahweh, the jealous God of the Bible. Okay? But today, you will see just why he is a bloodthirsty God. Now, going into the Gnostic text of the Nag Hammadi Library, it says, according to the Apocryphon of John, the fall occurs when Sophia desires to bring forth a being without the approval of the great spirit of her consort. Consequently, she produces a monstrous creator god, Yaltabaoth, who still possesses some of her light power of his mother. Yaltabaoth creates angels to rule over the world and aid in creation of man. Man himself is fashioned after the perfect Father's image, who was mirrored on the water. Man comes to life when Yaltabaoth is tricked into breathing light power into him. Is tricked. Okay? Thus begins a continuous struggle between the powers of light and the powers of darkness for the possession of the divine particle in man. Divine particle? Y'all just wait 1 second. This is the divine particle, the serpent power, better yet known as the Kundalini. The evil powers, we back in the Gnostic text, okay? The evil powers put man in a material body to keep him imprisoned. Okay? The physical body is a prison house. We know this shit. And the Gnostic text, which was dug up in 1945 in Egypt, confirms it. And also created woman and sexual desire to spread the particles of light and make escape more difficult. Look, the evil powers put man in a material body to keep him in prison, and also created woman and sexual desire to spread the particles of light and make escape more difficult. I gotta stop right there, because y'all got to understand what this means. Now, as we go into the ascended master of light, we find out what it's talking about. Now, coming from the ascended master Sanat Kumara, he says, if you waste your sex energy for pleasure gratification, then you have carried out your body of energy from the presence. Now, what is the presence? The presence is the presence of the mighty God in you, which is the Kundalini energy, which is Shiva and Shakti, which is masculine and feminine by nature. Okay? Which you must have in order to maintain the courage and strength to call the presence into action and to hold it until the human qualities which you have gathered about you through the centuries are dissolved and disappear. Huh? Y'all don't get it. Do you know in the sex energy which mankind wastes are strength, courage, and confidence? Did you ever notice that people who waste this energy become fearful, weak, and filled with distrust and suspicion? Shit, I know that. Why? Because in the outpouring of that life, it wastes the courage and strength which had already been gathered within the feeling world of the individual. In the waste of the sex energy, the individual throws away his strength and courage, for that is what goes out. The liquid light which flows through the nerves contain the courage and strength of life, which is feeling. And see, now before I continue on, I'm going to say this. You see, this is why when you read Mentai Chia books, it's talk about the microcosmic orbit, how to awaken Kundalini and have an ejaculation, not an ejaculation, because an ejaculation represents death. It keeps you suspect to the demiurge and the archons. Okay? And it keeps you from channeling the God within to awaken it, from awakening. See? Listen to this. If you waste your sex energy for pleasure, gratification, then you have carried out your body the energy from the presence which you must have in order to maintain the courage and strength to call the presence, aka Kundalini, into action and to hold it until the human qualities which you have gathered about you through the centuries are dissolved and disappear. You see? This is why you have an ejaculation, so you don't waste this energy. An ejaculation is awakening Kundalini. However, let's move on so we can get back to the Nag Hammadi Library. But first, I must complete this. This is why the messengers have explained to mankind the need for conserving the sex energy. It was never intended for anything but the propagating of human form. The great mistake which the sinister force has seized upon hypnotizing certain individuals and channels among mankind has made many believe the sex activity was just for gratification. See, that's why you can get porn and all this sexy shit with people half naked on TV and all this. This is why they promote this shit. Because they know if you can sustain the sex energy, what you would be able to do if you knew about this mighty God current that's within you, aka Kundalini, or Lucifer the light bringer, because this energy brings light to your dormant pineal gland, which is a miniature universe. Okay? But see, they have tried to use every possible excuse to make individuals believe they could use it for pleasure and still go on to perfection. I say to you, beloved ones, that never can be. The encouragement of that mistake through various avenues and the excuses that many teachers have made because that desire is strong within them is the greatest tragedy before mankind. Shit. Y'all see it? Coming from the ascended masters, which are light beings. Now, let us continue in the Nag Hammadi Library. I just had to get that out of there so y'all can understand why I would say something such as that spread particles of light to make escape more difficult when it came to as far as creating woman and sexual desires. Okay, to spread the particles of light and make escape more difficult. Okay, but finally, Christ is sent down to save humanity by reminding people of their heavenly origin. Only those who possess this knowledge and have lived ascetic lives can return to the realm of light. See, at our core, we are light beings, just trapped in a condensed container physical prison house body. See? Keep him in prison. Material body keep him in prison. Evil powers put man in a material body to keep him in prison. Okay? But anyway, and it says, only those who possess this knowledge and have lived ascetic lives can return to the realm of light. The others are reincarnated until they also come to saving knowledge. Remember, in his book, where it says, I say to you, beloved ones, it's talking about the sex energy. They have tried to use where it's talking about if you can't, basically, if your ass can't conserve that sexual energy and control your root chakra, the Ascended Master, Sanat Kumara, he has stated, I say to you, beloved ones, that never can be. Okay? You will never be able to reach, he basically you're gonna be able to reach your light body. Okay? Now moving on into the Nag Hammadi Library, we get to the root of this shit. Oh, this is beautiful. For some of y'all it ain't. For some of y'all it's gonna be disturbing. But it is beautiful because the Nag Hammadi Library of the Gnostic text is the closest to the original. Okay? In the Sophia of the Epinea began in Eon. I'm just getting to the points here. Okay? Conceived a thought from her, in the conception of an invisible spirit and foreknowledge. She wanted to bring forth a likeness out of her. She wanted to bring forth a likeness out of herself without the consent of the spirit. He had not approved. Now, to save some time, it talks about the Father or the divine spark. Okay, the one that was before anything in creation. So to give y'all a brief summary of what it's talking about, we're going to touch on it for a brief moment. So it talks about it is he who exists as God and Father of everything. The invisible one, who is above everything, who exists as incorruption, and which in the pure light into which no eye can look. He is the invisible spirit of whom it is not right to think of him as a god or something similar. For he is more than a god, since none existed, and something inferior to him, since everything exists in him. For it is he who established himself. He is eternal. Since he does not need anything, for he is total perfection. He did not lack anything that he might be completed by it. Rather, he is always completely perfected in light. He is illimitable, since there is no one prior to him to set limits to him. He is the unsearchable, since there exists no one prior to him to examine him. He is the immeasurable, since there was no one prior to him to measure him. He is invisible, since no one saw him. It's talking about a certain energy, just so y'all know. Okay? He is eternal, since he exists externally. He is ineffable, since no one was able to comprehend him, to speak about him. He is innameable, since there is no one prior to him to give a name. He is the immeasurable light, which is pure, holy, and immaculate. He is ineffable, being perfect in incorruptibility. Okay, y'all get the point. I just had to lay that out there. Okay? So now knowing what she lacked, Sophia, which was what I just broke down. Okay? that being the divine spark. It says, he had not approved, and without her consort, and without his consideration, and thought the person of her maleness had not approved, and she had not found her agreement. And she had thought without the consent of the Spirit and the knowledge of her agreement, yet she brought forth, and because of the invisible power which is in her, she thought, her thought did not remain idle, and something came out of her, which was imperfect and different from her appearance, because she had created it without her consort, and it was dissimilar to the likeness of his mother, for it was another form. And when she saw the consequences of her desire, it changed into a form of a lion-faced serpent, and its eyes were like lightning fires with flash. She cast it away from her, outside that place, that no one of the immortal ones might see. For she had created it. She tried to hide his ugly ass. Okay? So she basically cast him into the abyss. And see, she tried to hide him. See? She cast it away from her outside that place, that no one of the immortal ones, which are the light beings, which are the ascended masters, may see it. See, what I was just reading to y'all in the Ascended Master Light by Sanat Kumar, he is one of the immortal ones. So he know what the fuck he talking about. For she had created it in ignorance, and she surrounded it with a luminous cloud. And she placed a throne in the middle of the cloud, that no one might see it except the Holy Spirit, who is called the Mother of the Living. And she called his name Yaltabaoth. This is the first archon who took a great power from his mother. And he removed himself from her and moved away from the places in which he was born. He became strong and created for himself other eons with a flame of luminous fire, which still exists now. Now let me say something. If you ain't got no memory endurance or brain endurance, because this gonna be kind of long, y'all, because I'm about to bring it all the way home. So you must have patience with me on this, okay? Because you're going to see exactly why we were robbed of our God-given birthright, 12 DNA strands, or why we were robbed of all that locked DNA in us, or why we were robbed of telepathy, of clairvoyance, psychochemistry, telekinesis, cyclo audio, all this God-given birthright abilities that we once had. You're going to find out. Hang with me now. So, it tells you he became stronger, created for himself other eons of flame, of luminous fire, which still exists now. And he joined with his arrogance, which is in him, and begot authorities for himself. The name of the first one is Athoth, whom the generations called the Reaper. The second one, and that's death. Okay? He created death. Prior to then, one of such things is that we were all light beings. The second one is Harmas, who is the eye of envy. Look at all the bullshit he created. The third one is Kalia Umbri. The fourth one is Yabel. The fifth one is, y'all get the point. He creating all types of bullshit. The sixth one is Cain, whom the generation of men call the sun. So he created time so we can begin to age. Okay? And this calls a physical existence. Okay? Now moving on. Here we see Yaltabaoth. I'm just getting to the points here, okay? So he placed 7 kings, each corresponding to a firmament of heaven. Y'all Heavenly Father now. Half created. Lacking the divine spark. Okay? He placed 7 kings, each corresponding to the firmament of heaven, over the 7 heavens, and 5 over the depths of the abyss, that they may reign. And he shared his fire with them. But he did not send forth from the power of the light, which he had taken from his mother. For he is arrogant darkness. All right? Now let's get to this. Now the archon is weak. Has 3 names. The first is Yaltabaoth. The second is Seclus. And the third is Samuel. And he is impious in his arrogance, which is in him. For he said, I am God, and there is no other God. We're talking about Yaltabaoth, the jealous God. Okay? The God that said there is no God beside me. For he is arrogant of his strength, the place from which he had come. See this idiot, Yaltabaoth, I gotta call him what he is, because he even said, it said itself, he was ignorant. So this idiot couldn't even see past the 4th dimension. Okay? He was blind because he lacked the divine spark to go into other dimensions higher than the 4th dimension, which is the astral plane. Okay? This is why, according to this side of the book, taking the page back, he could not see the immortal ones, which were immortal beings, which were gods. See, he just thought he was the one and only God. I am God, and there is no other God beside me. And the archons created 7 powers for themselves. And the powers created for themselves 6 angels, and each one until they became 365 angels. Okay? And these are the bodies belonging to the names. The first Athoth, and he has a sheep's face. The second is, see, this some astral shit. When you see all these different images and stuff, to the average person, they saying this some bullshit. But when you have an out-of-body experience and you're able to see beings with different shaped faces, then it'll make sense to you. Okay? He is talking about the function of them, and Sabaoth, he has a dragon face. The 6th is Adonim. Okay, one got a monkey face. And okay, anyway, you get the point. But Yaltabaoth had a multitude of faces, more than all of them. So he could put a face before all of them, according to his desire. And when he is in the midst of the Sephiroth, he shared fire with them. Therefore he became Lord over them. Because of the power of the glory he possessed of his mother's light, he called himself God. And he did not obey the place from which he came. And he united the 7 powers of his thought with the authorities which were with him that he had made, of course, remember? Okay? So, and he did not obey the place from which he came. And he united the 7 powers. Okay, we just said it. And when he spoke, it happened. See, this in the Bible where it said, God said, let there be, and God said this, and God said that. This is talking about Yaltabaoth. That's the God in the Bible when it's talking about that. And when he spoke, it happened. And he named each power beginning with the highest. The first is goddess of the first authority. See, so y'all get where I'm going with this shit. Okay? And here you have, well, how he created all the wickedness and shit down here, envy and all that. Now moving on, we're going to get to some key points. And having created everything, he organized according to the model of the first aeon which had come into being, so that he might create them like the indestructible ones. Not because he had seen the indestructible ones, because remember, he couldn't see past the fourth dimension because he was blind, because he lacked the divine spark. But the power in him, which he had taken from his mother, produced in him the likeness of the cosmos. So he could only produce a replica, not that he had seen them. And when he saw the creation which surrounds him and the multitude of angels around him, which had come forth from him, he said to them, I am a jealous God. Huh? Don't that ring a bell about the God in the Bible? That's not what he said. And there is no other God beside me. But by announcing this, he indicated to the angels who attended him that there existed another God. For if there were no other one, of whom would he be jealous? Think about that shit. Y'all think about it. Okay? Now, I'm just going to key points, just to save a little time. Now, if y'all want to read the rest of that, y'all go ahead. Be my guest. But, and the arrogant one took a power from his mother, for he was arrogant, thinking that there existed no other except his mother alone. And when he saw the multitude of the angels which he had created, then he exalted himself above them. And when the mother recognized the garment, that the garment of darkness was imperfect, then she knew that her consort had not agreed with her. And what did she do? She repented with much weeping. And the whole pleroma, meaning the universe, meaning the cosmos, meaning everything, heard the prayer of her repentance. And they praised on her behalf the invisible vaginal or vaginal spirit. And he consented. He who is talking about the one that was first, the incorruptible one, the divine spark. And when the invisible spirit had consented, the Holy Spirit poured over her from their whole pleroma, from their whole pleroma. For it was not her consort who came to her, but he came to her through the pleroma, meaning through everything, in order that he might correct her deficiency. And what is her deficiency? The jealous God. Yaltabaoth. Okay? See, she became aware of the deficiency when the brightness of her light diminished, and she became dark because of her consort did not agree with her. See? Remember, he came out half created because he lacked the divine spark. All right? And she was taken up not of her own aeon, but above her son, meaning Yaltabaoth, that she might be, let me get this shit steady, that she might be in the ninth until she has corrected her deficiency. So being in the night is a ninth dimension, a much higher dimension. A voice came forth from the exalted aeon of heaven. The man exists, and the Son of Man, And the chief Aeon and the chief Archon, Yaltabaoth heard it and thought that it was the voice, and thought that the voice had come from his mother. And he did not know from where it came. And he taught them the holy and perfect Mother Father, the complete foreknowledge, the image of the invisible one, who is the Father, the one I explained to y'all, okay? The divine spark that she had lacked in making this wicked motherfucker, okay? Of all, no offense to y'all that believe in him, the blood sacrificing God. But this is what it is, according to the Nag Hammadi Library. Okay, this is just what it is. Okay, it tells you. It says that, and he taught the holy. He's talking about the one, the perfect one. He's telling you how he was tricking his ass. Because remember, it tells you right here. Yaltabaoth created angels to rule over the world and aid in creation of men. Man himself is fashioned after the perfect Father's image, which was mirrored on the water. Man comes to life when Yaltabaoth is tricked into breathing light power into him. So now you get the point. And let me make this clear so y'all can understand it, so it won't be nothing left out. You see what I say? And he taught them the holy and perfect Mother Father. Okay, let me show y'all something. Okay, going into the Hermetica, another book by Enoch, or Thoth the Atlantean, better yet known as Tahuti in Egypt, and in South America he was known as Quetzalcoatl, and also in Sumeria he was known as Ningazita. Okay, we go into one of the books of Enoch, which is the same people I just mentioned, or deities. And this breaks down the Mother Father, what I was just mentioning, in the Gnostic text. You see, it tells you right here. This is Asclepius talking to Hermes Trismegistus, which is Thoth the Atlantean, that God is bisexual. Yes, Asclepius, Imhotep, because Imhotep is actually Asclepius. It's just Asclepius in a Greek language, which is actually an African language, okay? Because the original Greeks were black people, okay? Because ain't no motherfucker come out no cave speaking no language, no Greek. We gave them that shit. So when you read, I'm going to say this right quick. When you read in the Holy Quran where it says, and we taught man the use of pen. We who? Shit. So when you go into Egypt, guess who taught man pen? Thoth the Atlantean. The ascending masters are the ones that have been aiding us, okay? Guiding